God of War is an action-adventure video game series loosely based on Greek mythology. Debuting in 2005, the series has become a flagship title for the PlayStation brand, consisting of 7 games across multiple platforms. The main trilogy and its prequel God of War I, 3, and Ascension were developed by Sony's Santa Monica studio and published by Sony Computer Entertainment for the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 video game consoles. Ready at Dawn developed the PlayStation Portable installments Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta which were also published by Sony Computer Entertainment. Capcom published both PS2 installments and Chains of Olympus in Japan. The mobile phone Java installment Betrayal was developed by Javaground and Sony Online Entertainment's Los Angeles division, and published by Sony Pictures Digital. In addition to the individual games, 2 collections featuring remastered versions of both PS2 installments God of War Collection and both PSP installments God of War Origins Collection have been released on the PS3 by Bluepoint Games and Ready at Dawn, respectively. Another collection God of War Saga was released on August 28, 2012, for the PS3 and features God of War I, 3, Chains of Olympus, and Ghost of Sparta. With the exception of the mobile phone game, God of War, Betrayal, every installment in the series has been released on the PlayStation 3 and each main installment was released in the month of March. As of June 2012, the series has sold more than 21 million copies worldwide. The series has also expanded into a franchise and now includes other media, including a comic book series God of War and 2 novels God of War and God of War 2. A film adaptation of the original installment has been in development since 2005. Merchandise promoting the series has also been produced, including artwork, clothing, and toys. The central character of the series is Kratos, a Spartan warrior tricked into killing his wife and child by his former master, the god of war Ares. Kratos eventually kills Ares at the behest of the goddess Athena and takes his place as the new god of war, but is still haunted by the nightmares of his past. Kratos is eventually betrayed by Zeus, the king of the Olympian gods. Revealed to be a demigod and the son of Zeus, Kratos now seeks revenge against the gods for their machinations. What follows is a series of attempts to free himself from the influence of the gods and the Titans and exact revenge. Each game chapter forms part of a saga with vengeance as a central theme. Gameplay. The series consists of 6 single-player-only games, and a 7th that includes multiplayer. Each game typically features a third-person, fixed cinematic camera. The player controls the character Kratos in a combination of combat, platforming, and puzzle game elements to achieve goals and complete the story. A first-person camera is featured in God of War 3 and God of War, Ascension, and God of War, Betrayal features a 2D side-scrolling view. Kratos' main weapons throughout the series are a pair of double-chain blades. Other weapons can be obtained during the games. Magic is also used, and 4 abilities are typically acquired. God of War 3 differs in that instead of separate abilities, there are 4 primary weapons, each possessing its own magic offensive. The game also featured items additional secondary weapons with limited usage, such as the Bow of Apollo. With each new game, most weapons and magic are lost via a plot device, and a new arsenal of weapons and abilities are acquired during gameplay. God of War Ascension differed in that instead of acquiring new weapons that are kept throughout the entire game, the player collects up to 5 world weapons that have limited usage. Relics, which the player can use in successive games, are also found and necessary for game progression. Kratos often has a special ability, which provides temporary invulnerability and increased attack damage. This ability has become an ongoing feature of gameplay throughout the series Rage of the Gods in God of War and Ascension, Rage of the Titans in God of War 2, Rage of Sparta in God of War 3, and Thera's Bane in God of War, Ghost of Sparta. This ability can be recharged by building hits on foes in combat, and gaining game-specific orbs. Thera's Bane, however, is recharged automatically. Gorgon eyes and phoenix feathers, found throughout the game in uncolored chests, increased the maximum amount of health and magic respectively. Minotaur horns, which increase the items and fire meter's maximum length, are available in God of War 3 and Ghost of Sparta, respectively. The items meter allows the use of secondary weapons, called items, and the fire meter allows the use of Thera's Bane. The meters are increased in increments and reach their maximum once a certain number of eyes, feathers, and horns are found. Other chests contain green, blue or red orbs. Green orbs replenish the player's health, blue orbs replenish magic allowing further usage, and red orbs provide experience for upgrading weapons and magic for new, more powerful attacks, and replenish the rage meter in God of War. Gold orbs can also be found in some episodes, which again replenish the rage meter. Chests with changing colors, which allow players to choose which meter to replenish, have also been available. Red orbs can also be collected by killing foes and destroying certain inanimate objects. Bosses and more powerful opponents release a combination of colored orbs when killed via the Quick Time feature. The series offers combo-based combat, and includes a Quick Time event feature, also called context-sensitive attacks, which is initiated when the player has weakened a foe. It allows limited control of Kratos during the QTE cinematic sequence. Success ends the battle while failure usually results in damage. In addition to the QTE system, God of War, Ascension features a prompt-less free-form system, allowing players the choice of when to attack or dodge based on the enemy's actions. A grab maneuver can be used on minor foes. Each installment offers a challenge mode, which yields extra red orbs, secret costumes, and behind-the-scenes videos. Bonus content can be unlocked by defeating the game's difficulty levels. Battle arenas, which allow players to set difficulty levels and choose their own opponents, are included in each installment except God of War, Chains of Olympus, and Ascension. A quick-time sex mini-game is also included in each installment except Betrayal and Ascension. God of War, Ascension introduced online multiplayer to the series for both competitive and cooperative play. Up to 8 players on 2 teams of 2 to 4 players battle for control of a map in order to earn rewards from the gods. Players can also fight each other in one-on-one matches. Players must sell their champion's soul to either Zeus, Hades, Ares, or Poseidon, which allows players to try different weapons, armor sets, and powers inspired by the god of their choice, and extras can be unlocked. Games. God of War was first released in North America on March 22, 2005, for the PlayStation 2. After 10 years in the service of the Olympian gods, Spartan soldier Kratos is tasked by Athena to find Pandora's box. The key to defeating Ares, the god of war. A series of flashbacks reveals that Kratos was once the servant of Ares, who saved the Spartan and his army from annihilation in battle, tricked him into killing his family, and forced his metamorphosis into the ghost of Sparta. Kratos eventually finds Pandora's box, and after finally killing Ares, ascends to Mount Olympus to become the new God of War. God of War 2 was first released in North America on March 13, 2007, for the PlayStation 2. Betrayed by Zeus, Kratos is saved by the Titan Gaia, who tells him he must now find the Sisters of Fate, who can change his fate and prevent his death at the hands of Zeus. Kratos is ultimately successful. Athena sacrifices herself to save Zeus and preserve Olympus, and tells Kratos that he is the son of Zeus. Kratos then joins forces with Gaia and the Titans to attack Olympus. God of War, Betrayal was released on June 20, 2007, for mobile phones. It is the only game in the series to be released as a 2D side-scroller and released on a non-PlayStation platform. The game's narrative takes place between the events of God of War, Ghost of Sparta and God of War 2. Kratos is framed for murder, and rampages across Greece seeking the true assassin. Kratos succumbs to bloodlust and kills Syrinx, the son of the god Hermes, an act that alienates him from his fellow gods. God of War, Chains of Olympus was first released in North America on March 4, 2008, for the PlayStation Portable, and a limited edition PSP bundle pack was released in June 2008. Its narrative takes place during Kratos' 10 years of service to the gods. Kratos halts a Persian invasion of the Greek city of Attica, and learns that the world has been plunged into darkness by the god Morpheus. Kratos investigates the abduction of the sun god Helios, and prevents the Machiavellian plan of the goddess Persephone to use the Titan Atlas to destroy the world. God of War 3 was first released in North America on March 16, 2010, for the PlayStation 3. An Ultimate Edition with exclusive content was available for pre-order. Reigniting the Great War, Kratos is soon abandoned by the Titans. Kratos, helped by the spirit of the revived Athena, seeks the flame of Olympus. He engages the gods and his former allies the Titans in an epic series of battles across the underworld and Olympus. He discovers that Pandora herself is the key to pacifying the flame and allowing him to open Pandora's box. Kratos defeats the gods and opposing Titans. After killing Zeus, Kratos refuses to help Athena assume the role of new patron of mankind and disappears, his final fate unknown. God of War, Ghost of Sparta was first released in North America on November 2, 2010, for the PlayStation Portable with a limited edition PSP bundle and an exclusive pre-order offer released simultaneously. Set between the events of God of War and God of War, Betrayal, Kratos, the God of War, is still haunted by visions of his mortal past and embarks on a quest to discover his origins by finding his mother, Callisto. He learns that his brother Deimos was taken by the gods and imprisoned by the god of death, Thanatos, and decides to find and save his sibling. Although successful, Thanatos engages the brothers in combat, and kills Deimos. Kratos then kills Thanatos and returns to Olympus, now enraged at the gods. God of War, Ascension was first released in North America on March 12, 2013, for the PlayStation 3 with a collector's edition available for pre-order with exclusive content. The game is a prequel to the entire God of War series. Set 6 months after Kratos killed his wife and child, Kratos has been imprisoned by the Three Furies for breaking his blood oath to Ares. With the help of the Oath Keeper Orcos, Kratos learns that Ares and the Furies plan to overthrow Mount Olympus. The Spartan escapes his imprisonment, subsequently killing the Furies, and Orcos, who begs for release. Although free of Ares' bond, Kratos begins to suffer the nightmares that will plague him for years. God of War, Ascension is the first game in the series to feature multiplayer for both competitive and cooperative play. Collections. God of War Collection was first released in North America on November 17, 2009. It is a remastered port of God of War and God of War 2 for the PlayStation 3 on a single Blu-ray disc. God of War and God of War 2 are ported by Bluepoint Games and feature high-definition 720p anti-aliased graphics at 60 frames per second and trophies. They were later ported to PlayStation Vita, on May 12, 2014. God of War, Origins Collection was first released in North America on September 13, 2011. It is a remastered port of the two PlayStation Portable installments in the series God of War, Chains of Olympus and God of War, Ghost of Sparta for the PlayStation 3 on a single Blu-ray disc. God of War Origins was ported by Ready at Dawn and features 720p high-definition video, anti-aliased graphics at 60 frames per second, DualShock 3 rumble features, trophies, and it is the first God of War release to feature stereoscopic 3D. God of War Saga was released in North America on August 28, 2012. It is a collection of 5 of the God of War games for the PlayStation 3 released as part of Sony's PlayStation Collections line. The collection includes God of War, God of War 2, God of War 3, God of War, Chains of Olympus, and God of War, Ghost of Sparta. It features 2 Blu-ray discs God of War I and 2 on the first and 3 on the second Euro, and a voucher to download Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta. The games retain the same features as their first PS3 releases. Recurring characters. Kratos the protagonist of the God of War series. The character is a power-hungry Spartan who, to save his life, was eventually forced to serve the Olympian god Ares. During one murderous rampage, Kratos accidentally killed his wife and child, Kratos renounced Ares, became a tormented soul, and served the gods for 10 years in hopes of becoming free of the nightmares. He eventually killed Ares and became the god of war, but was betrayed by his father, Zeus. A series of attempts to free himself from the influence of the gods and titans followed, culminating in a final confrontation with Zeus, resulting in the god's death and the end of the reign of the Olympian gods. In the aftermath, Athena appeared and Kratos sacrificed himself to prevent her from becoming the supreme goddess of the world. Kratos' final fate remains unknown. The character has been consistently voiced by Terrence C. Carson, and Anthony Del Rio voiced the character as a child in God of War, Ghost of Sparta. Athena the goddess of wisdom and Kratos' mentor and ally. In Chains of Olympus, Athena initially tasked Kratos to find Helios as in the absence of light, the god Morpheus had caused many of the gods to fall into a deep slumber. In God of War, she charged Kratos with the murder of Ares, as Zeus had forbidden divine involvement, and was instrumental in allowing Kratos to become the new god of war. Although she begged Kratos to stop his second quest for the ambrosia of Asclepius in the God of War comic series and lied to him about his brother Deimos in Ghost of Sparta, Athena was still sympathetic towards Kratos even after he renounced the gods and was betrayed by Zeus in God of War 2. Athena died trying to protect Zeus from Kratos, and was resurrected and elevated to a new level of understanding in God of War 3. With ulterior motives, Athena became Kratos' ally once more and guided him to the flame of Olympus surrounding Pandora's box, which allowed Kratos to kill Zeus and end the reign of Mount Olympus. The character was voiced by Carol Ruggier in God of War and God of War 2, and Erin Torpey in God of War, Chains of Olympus, God of War 3, and God of War, Ghost of Sparta. Gaia the mother of the Titans and embodiment of Earth. At the request of Zeus' mother Rhea, Gaia raised and protected the young Zeus to prevent Kronos from devouring him, as he had devoured his other children. When Zeus grew to manhood, he betrayed Gaia, freed his siblings, and Gaia was banished with her fellow Titans at the conclusion of the Great War. In God of War 2, she saved Kratos from the underworld after a disastrous encounter with Zeus, and directed the Spartan to find the Sisters of Fate in order to take revenge on Zeus. A successful Kratos plucked Gaia and the Titans from the moment in time before their defeat in the Great War to launch an abortive attack on Olympus. In God of War 3, Gaia was wounded in the assault on Olympus and abandoned Kratos, stating he was a pawn of the Titans so that they could have their revenge. Kratos eventually found and crippled Gaia, but she returned and interrupted the final battle between the Spartan and Zeus. The pair entered Gaia's neck wound, and with the blade of Olympus, Kratos destroyed her heart, killing the Titan. The character was voiced by Linda Hunt in God of War 2, and Susan Blackersley in God of War 3. Zeus the king of the Olympian gods and the main antagonist of God of War 2 and God of War 3. Zeus and Ares believed the destruction of Olympus would come at the hands of Kratos' brother Deimos, so they had Deimos imprisoned and tortured by Thanatos. Many years later, in God of War, Zeus aided Kratos against Ares by bestowing him with the magic, Zeus Fury, and as the mysterious Gravedigger. In God of War 2, it is revealed that Zeus had become infected with fear. He tricked Kratos into draining his godly powers into the Blade of Olympus, stating it was required to deal with the new threat actually created by Zeus. Kratos, stripped of his power, was mortally wounded while human, and killed by Zeus. With the help of the Titan Gaia, Kratos used the power of the Sisters of Fate to return to the moment Zeus betrayed him and defeated Zeus after extensive combat. Zeus was saved by Athena, who sacrificed herself to preserve Olympus. Before dying, Athena revealed that Kratos is Zeus' son, and that Zeus feared a perpetuation of the son-killing father cycle, as Zeus imprisoned his father Kronos. This was confirmed in God of War 3 when Kratos discovered that Zeus was infected with fear when Kratos first opened Pandora's box and used its power to kill Ares. After a lengthy battle and an enlightening encounter with Pandora in his psyche, Kratos finally overcame and killed Zeus. The character was voiced by Paul Eiding in God of War, Corey Burton in God of War 2, God of War 3, and God of War, Ascension, and Fred Tatasciore in God of War, Ghost of Sparta's after-game combat arena mode. Zeus is a downloadable playable character in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, released on March 19, 2013. Adaptations. Film and documentaries. A film adaptation of the first game was announced in 2005. Creator David Jaffe confirmed that a completed script had been written by David Self and would be sent to an unspecified director, and that Universal Studios is behind the making of the God of War movie but was unaware of its current status, and eventually said, "It's doubtful that the film will even be made." In September 2010, Jaffe said that the script went out a year and a half ago to Daniel Craig, who plays James Bond, but he turned it down. He also said that another actor had since been cast as Kratos. He said, "This new person is pretty good, if that ends up true." In July 2012, The Hollywood Reporter said that the writers Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan had been hired to adapt the God of War film. On August 30, 2012, the writers told IGN that they intend to humanize Kratos and explore his past. Melton said that they are emotionally invested and it could become a series of films, and that Ares will become a more proactive villain. As of 2012, the movie is without a director and has a budget of $150 million. God of War: Unearthing the Legend is a documentary about the God of War franchise and is hosted by Peter Weller. The production discusses the relationship between the God of War games and Greek mythology, and features members of the God of War 3 development team and professional historians. It was released as part of the God of War 3, Ultimate Edition and Ultimate Trilogy Edition. On March 25, 2010, it was released on the PlayStation Store to purchase. God of War and a Eurogame Directors Live is a documentary featuring 5 game directors of the God of War series: David Jaffe, Cory Barlog, Rui Azaria, Stig Asmussen, and Dana Jan. The documentary takes the form of an interview panel hosted by G4's Alison Hayslip, with the 5 game directors, 150 members of PlayStation Blog and members of GodofWar.com and SpartanStanTool.com. It was filmed at the El Portal Theater in Los Angeles on September 1, 2010, and was released as a pre-order bonus for God of War: Ghost of Sparta in North America on November 2, 2010, and was included with the God of War Origins collection and on the PlayStation Store. Comic series and novels. A 6-issue comic book series titled God of War, written by Marv Wolfman with art by Andrea Sorrentino, was published by Wildstorm and DC Comics between March 2010 and January 2011. The narrative switches between Kratos' past and present. It occurs while he is a soldier of Sparta and involves his search for the ambrosia of Asclepius, which has legendary healing properties and eventually saved his plague-ridden daughter, Calliope. Kratos also embarks upon a quest to destroy the same elixir to deny it to the worshippers of the slain god Ares, who wish to resurrect him. God of War, the official novelization of the first game of the series, was written by Matthew Stover and Robert E. Vardman. It was published on May 25, 2010, by Del Rey Books. God of War 2, the second novelization of the series, was written by Vardman alone and was published by Del Rey Books on February 12, 2013. Both novels recount the events of the games and offer deeper insights into their stories. Music. On March 1, 2005, God of War, original soundtrack from the video game was released on CD by SCEI as an exclusive product for the Sony Connect Music Store. It has been praised for its well-developed orchestral themes, and the creative use of ancient and ethnic instrumentation. The composers were also praised for avoiding the production of never-ending action themes. God of War 2, original soundtrack from the video game was released on CD by SCEI on April 10, 2007. Praised as strong, the album features ominous orchestral pieces, and each composer's contributions are slightly more distinctive than the previous soundtrack. The soundtrack of God of War, Chains of Olympus, composed by Gerard K. Marino, has not been commercially released. Marino composed about 13 minutes of new music for the game and reworked music from the previous titles. God of War 3, Original soundtrack from the video game was released as downloadable content through the God of War 3 Ultimate Edition and Ultimate Trilogy Edition collections in March and April 2010. It was also released on CD on March 30, 2010. The soundtrack was praised as an orchestral success and the best score in the series. The original scores for God of War 2, and God of War 3 were nominated for Best Original Score at the 2005, 2007, and 2010 Spike Video Game Awards, respectively. The God of War Trilogy soundtrack was included with the God of War 3 Ultimate Edition and Ultimate Trilogy Edition collections as downloadable content. The Trilogy soundtrack consists of the God of War 2 and God of War 3 scores. God of War Trilogy soundtrack was praised by critics as the best way to experience the series' musical development, and allows the listener to note the development of the composers during the series. On November 2, 2010, God of War, Ghost of Sparta original soundtrack from the video game was released as downloadable content by SCEI as part of the God of War, Ghost of Sparta pre-order package and includes 3 bonus tracks from God of War, Chains of Olympus. It can also be purchased from iTunes. Several tracks were cited as being intended for purely contextual purposes, and the remaining tracks rated well in comparison to the soundtracks of the main installments in the series. God of War, Ascension was composed by Tyler Bates and released on March 5, 2013, on iTunes. It was included as downloadable content in the God of War, Ascension Collector's Edition and Special Edition. God of War, Blood and Metal, the God of War, Blood and Metal EP is a heavy metal homage by various bands on the Roadrunner Records label, and features original music inspired by the God of War video game series. The EP was released for purchase on March 2, 2010, and is available from Shockhound and from the iTunes Store. The EP was also released as downloadable content via the God of War 3 Ultimate Edition and Ultimate Trilogy Edition collections and included a bonus track. The second track, Shattering the Skies Above by Trivium, and the bonus track, Even Gods Cry by the Turtlenecks, were made into music videos. 1UP.com said, "It's not offensive to the ears, and mainstream listeners may enjoy the album." Square Enix Music Online stated the album is a good selection of metal music, and listeners will be surprised with the variety of music. Critical reception. As of June 2012, the series, including God of War Collection and God of War Origins Collection, has sold more than 21.65 million copies worldwide. God of War 2, God of War, Chains of Olympus, God of War Collection, and God of War 3 have each received universal critical acclaim from several reviewers as compiled by review aggregates Game Rankings and Metacritic. Although God of War, Betrayal did not receive this level of positive feedback, it has been critically acclaimed for its fidelity to the series in terms of gameplay, art style, and graphics. Similarly, God of War, Ghost of Sparta did not receive universal acclaim, but has been praised for its graphics and story. 1UP said it is a more personal story than the other GOW games. God of War, Ascension also did not receive universal acclaim, and with the exception of God of War, Betrayal, it has the lowest score in the series from both Game Rankings and Metacritic. Raymond Padilla of GameSpy wrote that God of War is the best action game ever to grace the PS2, and one of the best action games of all time, having received over a dozen Game of the Year awards. In 2009 it was named the 7th best PlayStation 2 game of all time on IGN's Top 25 Picoseconds 2 Games of All Time list. God of War 2 was also on IGN's list, and was named the 2nd best PlayStation 2 game of all time. God of War 2 has similarly been called one of the best action games of all time and is considered the swan song of the PlayStation 2 era. In November 2012, Complex.com named God of War 2 the best PlayStation 2 game of all time Euro, where God of War was named the 11th best Euro, and consider it better than its successor, God of War 3. God of War, Chains of Olympus has been praised for fantastic graphics and tight and responsive controls. In 2008, Chains of Olympus was awarded the Best PSP Action Game, and in September 2010, it was listed as the Best PSP Game by GamePro. God of War 3 received praise for its graphics, in particular of Kratos. IGN stated that Kratos is perhaps the single most impressive-looking character ever in video games. IGN also said that God of War 3 redefines what the word scale means with regards to video games, as it throws you into scenes with titans that are larger than entire levels in some other games. God of War 3 received awards for Most Anticipated Game of 2010 and Best PS3 Game. The game also won the Artistic Achievement Award at the 2011 BAFTA Awards. God of War, Ghost of Sparta received several awards at E3 2010 including Best Handheld Game, Best PSP Game, and PSP Game of Show, and won Best Handheld Game at the 2010 Spike Video Game Awards. The series also received criticism because of problems with puzzles, weapons, and technical problems. God of War, Chains of Olympus was criticized by G4, who stated that the game occasionally suffers from screen tearing and framerate drops, and that some of the puzzles are so maddeningly difficult to solve. The game was also criticized for its lack of variety in enemies, players still having to move boxes to solve puzzles, and its relatively short story. God of War 3 was criticized for one of its puzzles. X-Play said it was particularly inappropriate. IGN complained about the game's weapons, and said that 2 of the 3 additional weapons that you'll earn are extremely similar to your blades. They have unique powers and slightly different moves, but by and large, they're more of the same. GameStyle criticized the script, and said it gets downright hokey at times. God of War, Ghost of Sparta received criticism from Eurogamer, which said that the game's primary problem is in its inbuilt focus, and that there is a sense that Ghost of Sparta is a step back for the series if you've played God of War 3. Some reviewers stated that God of War, Ascension's story was not as compelling as previous installments, with IGN stating that in comparison to Zeus and Ares, the Furies Donia Euro unregistered trademark T quite cut it. The multiplayer received a mixed response. Although reviewers claimed gameplay translated well into the multiplayer, they were critical towards the balance and depth of combat. Edge magazine, however, approved of the multiplayer, stating it is an evolutionary step with some fine ideas that will form part of this genre's future template. The collections have also received praise. IGN awarded God of War Collection the Editor's Choice Award and praised the enhanced resolutions, lower price point and smoother frame rates, and stated it was the definitive way to play the game. Due to the success of the God of War Collection, Sony announced that further titles would receive similar treatment for release under its new Classics HD brand. God of War, Origins Collection was similarly well received. IGN stated Sony succeeded at making good games better. Although GamePro criticized it for its lack of new bonus content. God of War Saga also received praise. Ryan Fleming of Digital Trends wrote that the collection is perhaps the best value buy for any console available, although the collection is not likely for fans of the series, but rather inexperienced players or newcomers. References. Notes, SCE Santa Monica Studio, ed. God of War. Sony Computer Entertainment SCE Santa Monica Studio, ed. God of War 2. Sony Computer Entertainment external links, official God of War franchise website, official God of War website, official God of War 2 website, official God of War, Chains of Olympus website, official God of War 3 website, official God of War, Ghost of Sparta website, official God of War, Ascension website, God of War Ascension Collector's Edition, official God of War Kratos POP vinyl.